Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we are playing blue-white dragons with no reserve list. You can build this entire deck for a few $100s. Let's talk about how it works. So the core engine of the deck is Roiling Dragonstorm, 1 blue and 1 colorless enchantment. When this enchantment enters, draw 2 cards, then discard a card, and when a dragon you control enters, return this enchantment to its owner's hand. So we're playing lots of dragons. We've got a total of 10 dragons, actually. We've got Murktide, who needs no introduction. We've also got Clarion Conqueror, a very powerful new dragon for 2 colorless and a white, flying. Activated abilities of artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers can't be activated. That's quite a static ability that this card has. And then we've got the 4 Timeless Dragons that not only ramp us, but we can discard a Timeless Dragon to Roiling Dragonstorm, and then we can eternalize it on a future turn to get our dragon that bounces Roiling Dragonstorm back to hand. Pretty stoked to do that, and we'll probably do it many times during this league. We also have Spell Pierce for interaction, and that pairs very well with Back to Basics since we're playing almost all basic lands. And we have Dress Down, which is very good right now. It's stopping creature strategies, constructs. We've got 2 Brazen Borrowers in here that are almost always good in my experience. We've got a March of the Lordly Light to go with our 4 Plows. This card is pretty solid instant speed removal. When you don't have a third color, you want to play this over Prismatic Ending, in my opinion. And then in the sideboard, we have Wrath of the Skies. Very excited to be bringing out Wrath. There are a lot of go-wide strategies in the meta right now, including a very powerful black-white tokens deck and a red-white tokens deck. So this just completely farms those decks. I'm really excited to put this on the stack. And then we have our obligatory anti-oops tech. We've got the 4 Grafdigger's Cage and the 4 Force of Negations to protect our Grafdigger's Cage so we can resolve it. We have an anti-reanimator card in Celestial Purge, which exiles black or red permanents. And then we've got the 3 Hydroblast for the Moon Stompy matchup. We're going to have a great time here. See you in round 1. Round 1, we're up against Sama Lama, a revered animal in Japan. And of course, not to be confused with Super Llama, the bouncy castle chain in Texas. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw down. Yeah, this is a good hand. This is an Island Ponder hand. Our opponent is likely on Death Shadow, which is scary. So I'm hoping we just Island Ponder and then we can also Timeless Dragon to get a Plains and get that. That could be land number 3. So we can try to get 2 islands first. All right, this is a shuffle. We're just looking for land, and our opponent is probably aware, but it's not like they can do anything about it since we're on basic lands. They could counter our subsequent Ponder. Opponent's heading into their first turn with a Cracked Delta, Watery Grave, Death Shadow, most likely, Thoughtseize, love it. I have a very redundant hand. No single card that makes sense to take here. Clarion Conqueror would make sense if they were going to try to go a turbocharged Tommy route. Clarion Conqueror just solos Tamio because she can't plus or minus or do really much of anything. They take a Ponder. So I'm thinking they're probably just going to daze our Ponder. So it might make sense to, even if we draw a land, to go ahead and go for it. I mean, I don't want to show them that we drew. Like, I think this is going to get dazed. Yeah, sure enough. Okay, and that's fine. We'll naturally draw a land eventually. This strategy doesn't work on us. I mean, hopefully it doesn't work on us. That'd be embarrassing if we just got mana screwed with our all basics deck. Once we find a second land, the Timeless Dragon bridges us really far to the end game. All right, and they're just chilling. Would not be surprised at all to get this Brainstorm dazed as well or forced. They've really committed to keeping us low resource here. Spell Pierce, that's fine. I will be freaking out next turn if they have some pressure on the table, but right now I'm just going to accept that Spell Pierce. Again, we have unimpeachable land. It would be scary if they... okay, so they do have enough mana. Their life is low enough that they could put a big scary dude on the table. And that's what they're doing. 1 Death Shadow, 2 Death Shadows? Okay. We've got a 2-turn clock here. All right, so here is the moment of truth. All right, that's great. So I think the thing to do here is just go ahead and Timeless Dragon to try to find land number 3, and then we have lots of mana to... I mean, if we plow one of these, it's really strong. We are going to take 10 here, though. Bouncing doesn't do anything. We can bounce the next turn if we're absolutely desperate. It's unfortunate that we don't have a Tundra in our deck because we could, just go get a Tundra with this and then drop a giant Merc. They are holding up something over there. I mean, the danger is that they have a... We need a plow so bad. We can survive, maybe, off of a Daze, though. Or off of a Brazen Borrower. So options. We could go with the Roiling Dragonstorm, and then if they just have the card, we're dead. I think what we do is we just hang in there, and we go for the Borrower next turn. It might make sense to do it in the upkeep just before they get to draw. Yeah, I'm going to do that just to minimize the likelihood of them having double Daze. But if they have another Spell Pierce, that does it too. So what we really need to do is next turn... Oh, what's this? Bowmaster. I mean, not a lot I can do about that. That is scary. That makes Roiling Dragonstorm uncastable next turn. That was my original plan, was just Roiling Dragonstorm here. So we'll get one of these out of the play. If they have like a fetch or anything, we're dead. Street Wraith. That's death. Yeah, that was incredible pressure. This deck can really pressure. Yeah, and that was the Island Ponder keep failing us, which does happen from time to time. Celestial Purge coming in for sure. A Wrath. I mean, Wrath actually is probably pretty good here. I don't know the Clarion Conqueror does anything. Oh, Dress Down is probably a liability when they have... Yeah, I don't think the Dress Down needs... I mean, it could shut off Bowmaster for a turn. Actually, I think we probably take out some Spell Pierces. Bring back in the Dress Downs. Maybe we just go one Dress Down. Clarion Conqueror may not do anything against their deck. They do have Tomio in their deck, but I don't think it's good enough. We have Purge. Well, Purge won't hit that. We have March won't hit Flip Tommy either. Actually, it's hard for us to deal with Flip Tommy without having Clarion Conqueror in the deck. Maybe we want to keep one, and then... I mean, Wrath is so good because it's like everything in the deck is pretty cheap except for Merc. And we have lots of answers to Merc in the form of opposing Mercs and Borrowers. Yeah, I think maybe this is the rare 3. I mean, they are going to go wide. They didn't show any fear of going wide there. This would have been really good had we been able to resolve it. We don't know that they had an interaction spell. We have to ask whether Back to Basics is where we want to be. I don't think it is. I think we can cut this because they do definitely have Swamp and Island in there. And then we can bring Conqueror back in, and we could bring a Dress Down. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Yeah. Like, the Back to Basics is really not that strong against decks that are filled with 1-drops. This is a keep. So we can Ponder again. We have Force for their... Likely going to have to force a Bowmaster with the number of cantrips we have in our hand. I didn't take out any of the engine cards. I do want to try to pull ahead once we've... Okay, this Roiling Dragonstorm is pretty appetizing, and I'm not going to say no to more land. So I think what we do is we keep the Dragonstorm in hand, or on top. Then we'll take the Flood of Strand. And then next turn we can Roiling Dragonstorm, and if they daze it, it's okay. And I think we can safely just fetch away at land number 3. I'll just bin one of the Brainstorms if it resolves. Ponder. Maybe I don't want to play a Roiling Dragonstorm into a potential daze. I mean, I would say more than potential daze, likely daze. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fetch and then I'll just Ponder. And I'll just go ahead and get the island here. I'm going to Brainstorm first. I want to get these Brainstorms out of my hand. They're a liability. And then I can Ponder after this. And if they want to daze that, that's okay. These are pretty good. I want to hide Plow. It's the strongest card in our deck. I kind of want to go ahead and just Ponder. I'm going to hold up Pierce. I'll just Pierce whatever they put on the stack. Including Thoughtseize. Including Thoughtseize. I'm going to put the Brainstorm back. I might not want to draw it. We could alternatively hide Plow for 2 turn cycles. I think that's actually fine. No, because I want to be able to Thomas Dragon next turn. Yeah. So that way that I have the 3rd land lined up. Yeah, so I'll do it like that. We're just going to pass. With 2 points of interaction up. I don't really want to use this Force. Yeah, I said I would pierce pretty much anything, but I don't know. I probably should have pierced that. It fills up my yard. Watery Grave. Okay, I'm going to pierce this, and then they'll probably fight over it. Because this helps them get lower in life. Turns on lots of stuff. Okay, they didn't fight over it. Okay, that's good. This is a window for us to go ahead and Roiling Dragonstorm. And also to ponder to get something out of our hand. I'm going to bin this Thomas Dragon here. If they force this is so good for us. Okay, we're in. I just want to keep a land here. There's a land to keep. I will put back... I mean, like, it may sound weird, but I think I'm actually going to just bin this force. No, that can't be right. I'll bin the Brainstorm. Okay, and now we have Days Protected Force up. Next turn. Oh, I should have binned the freaking Thomas Dragon. What was wrong with me? I would have had Thomas Dragon next turn. That was so dumb. Sorry, my excellent friends. That was a total punt. I'll still be able to do it, but it's, going to be a turn later. It may not matter. They have another Thoughtseize, though. They are going to take my plow, which will be a bummer. Right, opponent is just passing. That's fine with me. There's a Merc. I mean, I kind of think we just go for it. It's a big Merc. I'm going to get an island here, and then I can Thomas Dragon during their end step. I think there's a high likelihood they force here. It's 2 turn clock. If this resolves, we get Roiling Dragonstorm back too. Okay. Works for me. And I'm just going to pass with Thomas Dragon up. I don't want to risk playing that into a Bowmasters here. Okay, they're borrowing this back to hand. If I force this, I keep... Yeah, I think it's worth doing. Because I don't want to have to deal with this. And they can't Spell Pierce or Daze. They have to force back. And then I get rid of this as a potential blocker or attacker later on. Okay, they're forcing back. That is fine. So that'll come back to our hand. Brainstorm. They're going to get a perfect Brainstorm here. The card they pitched to force with was a Ponder. Fetching. Shadow. That's no problem. I'm going to go get a Plains here. And then what I can do next turn is I can plow and get my dragon out. Oh, I can't. I don't have enough mana. I did not have the right colors of mana for that. So I could Roiling Dragonstorm and just bounce their Bowmaster when it comes in. Okay, they do have a Bowmaster. I'm thinking about just plowing the Bowmaster here. Okay, they get their ping, they get their dude. So this comes in. I'm going to bin... I could bin this Ponder and I could just bounce that Shadow back to hand. Gosh, if their last card is Daze, it's going to be pretty embarrassing. I'm going to bin the Dragonstorm itself. Let's see. 1, 2. Yeah, so here's the deal. I can't actually Merc and have Thomas Dragon because I'll have to eat the Thomas Dragon as part of Mercing. So I think I'll wait a turn on that. And I do think I go ahead and just attempt to borrow here. Then they come in. That's okay. I just do stuff next turn. I could just Roiling Dragonstorm a second time here. I actually think that's fine. If they Daze that, that's okay. They're going to have to kill me this turn, or I'm going to start really taking over the game. That's pretty good. So we're going to ditch this Clarion Conqueror. And now what we can do is we can just Wrath for 1 next turn. They do have this Brazen Borrower that can come in and do additional damage. I'm hoping that they play out some additional pressure. They don't have a Hardcast Force yet. Okay. Another Thomas Dragon. I think we do start with the Wrath. And then we can Merc. They can't pierce this. Alright, we've taken the pressure off. Now let's attempt to Merc here. And if they plow this, it's okay. I've got plenty of other stuff to do next turn. 2, 3, 4. This is almost certainly going to get Force or Daze or something. They are applying a lot of pressure because this Borrower comes in. Okay, that's good. Now they can bounce this out, but then they want to have mana to play this too. So I'm pretty sure they're not going to be able to hit us. We can also just play Thomas Dragon if we want to next turn. Yeah, they're just playing this out. That's fine. They could bounce this or do some sort of kill spell on it, but I'm optimistic I'll be able to find a way through. It's fine. So what I would probably do is just Thomas Dragon for a Plains, and then I can just uncounterably bring back the other Thomas Dragon. I'm just going to go ahead and come in and see if they have a Brazen Borrower. They'll have to use it on this. Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to risk them killing me with a like a Bowmaster or something. I'll just chill. That's fine. Okay. That felt much more like in line with what we want to happen in terms of getting our mana under us. It was still kind of scary. I mean, the deck is super scary. I feel like everything is fine the way it's configured. Clarion Conqueror, I still haven't seen Tamio. I presume it's in there, but they may be just like on the creature beats. We could bring in another Spell Pierce. It seems like it's going to be okay here. And Clarion Conqueror, just ain't nobody got time for that. It costs a ton of mana. I will be sad if they just open Tamio Brainstorm, or like what they can do. They can Tamio and then like double Street Wraith and immediately flip her in turn 1. It's scary. Yeah, I think actually we do want this back in. Let me just make the change. Oh, it's too late. Yeah, I think I convinced myself. Because I have a video where I played it, and like Street Wraith with Tamio is pretty busted. This has got to be a mulligan, unfortunately. Like, I don't think we're going to get many of these. Like, we're just getting unlucky with variants. We've got 19 lands in our deck. But this, and then plus the, yeah, we're going to take a Discipline mulligan here. This is much better. I will just put back the Archive. Yeah, I'm going to put back the Archive. It's got to be the Archive, right? Archive's terrible against them. This Tommy? Yeah, I got to get rid of her. I'm going to try to plow her. I think it's most likely she'll get countered, but we've got to get rid of her. We can always try to get rid of her next turn if they don't flip her. I think they're probably going to defend her here with the days. Oh, wow. That was lucky. Super lucky. All right. And Plow is the most powerful card in our deck, basically, against their deck, but we had to use it there. I just don't like to give any value. Okay, wow. We might get lucky. They play a very low land count. Okay, we didn't get lucky. It's probably another Tommy. Ponder. Okay. So next turn, we're just going to... I mean, it is an opportunity for us to brainstorm. We'll see what we draw. I do like the idea of brainstorming without having to worry about Bowmaster, because they are definitely rocking 4 of those. Okay, I think I like the idea of just going ahead and brainstorming here. Like, just to reduce our liability, because having 2 brainstorms in your hand is scary. We can always just shuffle our brainstorm during the upkeep with Timeless Dragon. I think this is fine. We're definitely putting this Archive back. I'm going to put this back because we have a second lane coming already. Now we're going to chill with Daze Protection up. Feeling pretty good. They've got 4 cards in hand. We're not going to get got by like some explosive action when we have a forced blue card. It's fine. This is a really fun matchup, but I think this is a fun matchup where we are super favored because of Plow. Plow is definitely kryptonite for Death Shadow. Found land number 3. I'm interested in why they even kept that, but I guess they had to shuffle their Ponder. Their deck functions on like basically 1.5 mana. It's like the lowest curve you can imagine. I will force a Merc here. I just am not set up to beat it, unfortunately. Okay, that is good. We stopped it. They're down to 3 cards. So upkeep, we're going to go ahead and shuffle. Grab this Plains. Draw for turn. Force, not a great draw. I mean, they could have... They've seen the Plains. They could have Opposition Agent in their deck. Stranger things have happened, and it would be a big pain, and it's totally avoidable. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle now. This may seem like extremely cautious, but we have Timeless Dragon next turn. It's like guaranteed. It can't be stopped. Unless they exile our graveyard for some reason, which I'd be stunned if they had graveyard hate in their deck. I think doing that, like they could definitely borrow it out of play. Brainstorm. They have been getting a lot of cantrips. I wouldn't be surprised if another Merc was in our future. And March of Otherworldly Light, famously not good against Murktide. Thoughtseize, that's fine. They probably have just 2 Brazen Borrowers in the deck, maybe 1. Death Shadow, okay. It is currently smaller than our 4/4. That's a good rip. We can do that next turn, but I want to get a blocker out. Also, if they Thoughtseize us, yeah. We could always play this as a 5/5 too, if we find another land. And if they daze it, then we can just bring it back the next turn. This is Brazen Borrower. We tried, fam. We tried. All right. They're going to hit us. We knew the risks. Another Death Shadow. Okay. 1/1 beatdown begins. I am going to, if I draw a land, I am going to go for the big Timeless Dragon. I'm going to go ahead and Purge first, just in case they have daze. And then this can't be dazed. That's fine. Had I Timeless Dragoned, actually, yeah, I should have Timeless Dragon. That was dumb. I have no excuse. That was just a bad play. No, wait. I Timeless Dragon. I have a land. I can still pay for days, but I've got my guaranteed land drop. Yeah, that was a punt for sure. Now they can play this, grow their thing, and then they've got a pretty good aggro beatdown here. Boss Rush. All right. If they play this out, then a Plow clears it. They have one unknown in hand. I'll be really sad if their one unknown in hand is exactly Bowmaster. But at the same time, oh, we're in so much trouble if they play this card out. I want to get rid of this force. Don't have Bowmaster. Don't have Bowmaster as your last card. Okay, thank goodness. All right, so what we do is we get rid of these forces. These suck. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of these forces. Because I know that I'm getting 2 cards off this. I want at least one of them to be good. And then I'll just bin the dragon. All right, come on, deck. Merc would be good. Plow would be the best. That's pretty good. Yeah, we're going to take another hit. We're going to take 6, actually. Very scary. And if they have, depending on what they have, if they have like a dress down, that's just jam. They can just kill us. Because that'll make it the 13-13. Brainstorm. Gosh, man, I feel like I totally screwed this up. That one play, just not cycling before I cast, and then being able to daze made all the difference. My opponent's very skilled, and they are driving me into the ground here. 8. All right, are we even alive? Like, one ping from a Bowmaster, we're now dead. We do have dress down for the Bowmaster, if they do that. Okay, so this puts us within dead to Brazen Borrower range. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back Merc first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is a lethal threat. Blue. If their last card is Brazen Borrower, that's also extremely dangerous for us. I think we want to go ahead and make this. Yeah. They can clear the path. We're dead on board. They would need to bounce, and I think we just take the island here. All right. So next turn, they're dead if they can't kill us this turn. This has been an insanely intense match, not helped by my punt. Yeah, Brazen Borrower would have won it. Oh, my goodness. So many things would have won it. I feel extremely lucky to have won that game. But it was fun. We are very favored, and as long as I play well, I don't think we lose more than like maybe 2 out of 10 games against that deck. See you in round 2. All right, round 2, we're 1-0 up against a likely Painter player on the play. This hand seems perfectly legit. I love the dress down against Painter. Let's keep. So we'll just open Spell Pierce, and we'll hope that we never have to cast this force, and that we can mull it away. It's not particularly good when it can be Pyroblasted. I'm going to go ahead and lead with Flooded Strand, because there is the possibility that we want to just surveil. We're not going to get a lot of value out of Back to Basics against a mono red deck. They're on Moon Stompy. We could just let this resolve. We could just get an island, and then we've got everything we need. I think it's actually fine, because this kind of like locks out value from Urza Saga, which they probably have in there. Yeah, that may seem like extreme, but they put a lot of resources into this, and I don't really care. We are not going to be able to get double white, but actually we can get double white later. Yeah, it's not actually a big deal to get double white. I'm going to hide the fact that we're playing white for now, because we have 4 Timeless Dragons to go get our planes, even if we don't naturally draw one of our 3 remaining planes. So it looks like they're on Moon Stompy rather than Painter, or some hybrid of the two. Welder's fine. There's nothing on the table that they can do with this right now. Soul Guide Lantern, I don't care. They can use this as something to sack to bring back artifacts later, though. That is something to be cognizant of. All right, we're starting to draw. cards that we don't want to draw. We're not going to be able to fetch to put them away, unfortunately. Interesting, a fetch. Okay, so this is a force. We could just dress it down. The problem is we're going to eventually have to deal with these bodies. I think I'm just going to dress it down. No. Okay, so they don't get the search trigger. I'm fine with this current state. They can attack for 1. I realize this looks extremely passive, just not using our forces. We can technically just race if we just put in a borrower here. I'll play my land for turn. Yeah, I mean, it may seem weird, but I may just go ahead and just borrow to start beating down. They're at 18, so we're technically winning a race, but we need to hit them 6 times. But they have very few cards. They're being demure about attacking. It's fine. I am going to go ahead and just play this out. They have the blast. Unfortunately, I mean, like, it's crazy to force this, but I kind of think we force it. This Pierce is not going to be good against their deck at this point. I just want to get my borrower in and start beating them down. And then hopefully follow up with the Merc. And this is more fuel for the Merc later. They have a second blast. All right. Let's... Oh, they're just cracking their thing. Yeah, that's fine. So that means they're not going to go after my graveyard, which is nice. Did they find it? They get to play like 6 to 8 blast effects. Yeah, that sucks. So we don't have anything going on, but we are much closer to a Merc here. I mean, we could just play Merc out immediately if we drew it. Dragonstorm's great. I want to go ahead and do that. Looking forward to binning this Prismatic Vista. It's pretty terrible here. We got another... Oh yeah, I'll play the land out. I mean, again, I think it's fine to just play the lands out. We could always get rid of the Blood Moon and just go grab some lands. We wanted to... This has to be forced, sadly. I just don't think we win a game where this is resolving. Because it gets to go put lots of good stuff in the yard. Yeah, we're like, how do we get behind? They just got several 2-for-1s on us. Merc is huge now. Merc also resets Dragonstorm. I'm not going to use my plow. I'm just going to hold it. All right, let's go find a Merc here. These are Shuffle. Plains number 2. I will play it out. Yeah, we're... Again, they're structurally incredibly favored with the Pyroblasts and with these powerful 2-for-1s. Like, it just doesn't make sense to plow to remove them. We're dropping low in life, but I'm just going to hold up faith that we will find something and that this plow is better suited hitting something else. Oh my goodness. So we could march the Blood Moon, I guess. That unlocks the ability to surveil, at least, so we're not drawing completely dead next turn. But that will give them extra mana. We could also march one of these creatures. If they put like some scary artifact on the table, or on the stack, I could just get rid of both of these. At what point do I want to actually worry about my life total? I think I'm going to wait one more turn. Because again, like a Merc will race them pretty quickly. Come on, Merc. I'll take that. Dragonstorm's in. So we could, like, in theory, like, march this out of play and then do more stuff. But I think I'll probably just bin one of these. All right, they didn't have the Pyro. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, just more of the same. I guess we just go like that. And we just chill for a turn cycle. I don't like the Brainstorm here because there's nothing we can do to shuffle. We can instep get rid of the Blood Moon if we want to. And then we can Brainstorm, shuffle, clear. Yeah, again, it feels wrong to plow these, knowing that they have, you know, Painter and lots of other scary cards in their deck. So I'm going to Brainstorm first, and then I can Ponder to shuffle it away. And Ponder is the thing I don't want Pyroblast. Okay, so it looks like they're going to Pyro this, which is fine. Then I'll be able to Ponder and hopefully resolve that. Okay, Clarion Conqueror wins combat. We can play it immediately. Shuts off a lot of what their deck does. I think we go for it, and we just hope they don't have a Bolt. This does mean we've got 2 really bad cards coming. So I have an idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to march the Blood Moon during next turn's upkeep. Actually, since I get these Dragonstorms back, I can kind of just chill. But like I could march the Blood Moon and then crack and then shuffle away the bad stuff. Okay, that's fine. They're not yet to kamikaze levels of desperation. Let's see. We have 2 bad cards on top. If we just get rid of this, then we can not draw them. We could also just Roiling Dragonstorm, discard them. I think the latter plan is fine. All right, there's a force. Better than these other cards. Gonna do this. Man, this is a really cool combo. All right, guess I'm gonna play this land out. I mean, I can definitely use the mana. I'll just chill. They want to attack and they're gonna lose a creature here. They found something good. I think we just force this. We can't exile this with March. Yeah, and it turns on like a lot of stuff their deck can do. I'm just gonna force. They're tapped out. I'm just gonna chill. Getting some server lag. Hopefully that doesn't. I mean, this is super grindy. Another one. Well, we're going to play that. There's no legend rule on these things. This will get our Dragonstorms back to hand, and we'll just continue to pull ahead. You know what? I forced this Karn. There was no reason to do that. Dragonstorm would have just freaking stopped him from doing anything. That was so dumb. I'm sorry, my excellent friends. It didn't even occur to me that Clarion Conqueror was that powerful that it completely shuts off Planeswalkers. Not a good play on my part. All right, so we get these back. I'll go ahead and immediately deploy one. Timeless Dragon goes straight to the bin. Yeah, I think that's correct. We can bring this back next turn. I am going to start beating. We have Spell Pierce up. We have Plow up. I don't think we can lose this turn cycle. They don't have good attacks. They can start Kamikaze attacking if they wanted to. They have land for turn. Wow, this card is so good against Painter. My goodness, I didn't really think about how good it was against them. Okay, and then I'll just go to my turn. It's pretty free to do this. Just go get a planes first. That way we keep the planes up here, and then I'll just bring these. Well, I kind of want to go ahead and get the value. Is that greedy? I think that actually is greedy because that forces me to tap out of stuff. I don't think I should bring Timeless Dragon back this turn. I think I need to wait till next turn now. Spell Pierce is definitely a card I wouldn't mind discarding here. If they had another artifact, they could bring back Soul Guide Lantern and wipe our Timeless Dragons. That would be pretty strong. I'm actually going to pitch a Pierce here. I'll just attack with one of these. Yeah, oh, they can't bring anything back. They can't do jack. This Clarion Conqueror completely shuts their game down. So I have like very little to fear right now. I just need to close the game. Yeah, my goodness, this card is so cracked. Love it. They drew a land for turn probably. They've got cards in their hand, but they might be like, you know, Pyroblast type effects. All right, so let's play our land out. Another Timeless Dragon. I'm just going to go ahead and Eternalize one. We get these back. I think if I find a force, I'll be pretty good to go. I'm just going to go ahead and get yet another land. And again, I'm just going to play super conservatively here, but we very much have this game. The game is definitely ours to lose. I would like to find a force just in case. Okay, so that doesn't... Oh, this can help me play out. This just enters as a regular land. I'm just going to go ahead and go to attacks here. They could have Fury. How bad would Fury be? Fury could kill this and then they could attack for near lethal. Yeah, I think I'm still going to attack with both. Actually, I should have just held one back because I could have attacked for lethal next turn. And I mean, we get really desperate, we can always just plow one of our dudes, gain some life. Okay. So, what did we learn? This should probably be a 3 of. I mean, with how good it was there. Okay, so Celestial Purge does kill red permanents. I think it's worth bringing in here. Hydroblast definitely come in. I think this is absolutely a match for Wrath. What's bad? Back to Basics is pretty terrible. I think Spell Pierce is meh, very much so, especially on the draw. We just need to make one more cut. It's not clear what to cut here. I don't like cutting Force just in case they have like a really explosive combo start. Dragonstorm is pretty good against Urza Saga, which they're most likely playing. I mean, I'd say almost certainly playing. We didn't see it that game, but I'm almost certain it's in their deck. I'm going to cut a Roiling Dragonstorm. I know it was like a really critical engine there, but it is a blue card. which is a huge liability because our opponent is dumping whatever remaining blast they have from their sideboard into their deck right now. Okay, so this hand is an Island Ponder hand, which normally I would keep. We have a Hydroblast. I think this is a keep. We're on the draw. Yeah. We have plenty of cantrips if our Ponder whiffs for some reason. Grindstone. Okay, this is what I was talking about. Like, they could potentially explosively kill us here. So Force would be a welcome reprieve here. Okay, that's a land that we can use. I'm going to go ahead and just cantrip now while they're tapped out of Blast. Let's find land number 2. And then we've got land number 3 lined up right now. Okay, there it is. We don't really need Merc at all. I'd rather have a Timeless Dragon just to bridge us mana-wise. Okay. And Merc is not as good in this matchup as it is, you know, like Timeless Dragon's like way better. Obviously, the Clarion Conqueror is the best. After last game, we saw just how strong that was. Okay, so it looks like they might be holding up Pyroblast, which is great for us because we're not going to be doing anything Pyroblastable this turn. We're just going to be getting another island and then going and getting a Plains. Okay, Urza Saga, that's fine. We have one of the constructs covered. So this is like true control posturing in the sense that you're just kind of hanging out, making sure that they're not doing anything too dangerous over there, and building your board. And control generally building your lands, but I do have a deck where instead of building out your lands, you're building out like Baleful Strix and Orcish Spellmasters and other kind of like good cards and that help you get Kaito out. But in this case, we're mostly just building up our lands and getting our graveyard ready for the arrival of a Merc. Welder's fine. I think I'm going to plow Welder because I definitely get the vibe that they have mana up. I could Hydro Welder, and then if they use their Blast, that's okay. I want to be mana efficient here because they've already tapped out of Urza Saga for this turn. Okay, that's great. Now we go get a land. And it's great. It's so convenient that we drew like another Timeless Dragon because we can just get all of our plans out. And then, I mean, next turn we could cast, but we're not going to do that. That'd be greedy. I'll just play out this Plains. And we have lots of interaction for them plus Timeless Dragon yet again. They may clear our graveyard. Assuming Spirit Guide. Okay, they're going to actually do it. That's great. So this Borrower is going to be a 2-for-1. Presuming it gets through. So I think they're going to probably clear out our graveyard here. I think this is a decent place to just go ahead and borrow this out of play. Okay, and they're going to Pyro that. That's great. That's another 2-for-1. So now we can just, you know, conceivably like plow that. And then we bring back a Timeless Dragon later. And it's big enough to tango with it. Mox Opal. Okay. Interesting. So they are crimped on mana. Whoa. Not anymore. Okay. So if we just take this, we can Timeless Dragon again. I think that's okay. Then we can blow out combat next turn if they don't have any more artifacts. Because we could bring this back and then we could also... Yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah, we could block and we could plow to shrink the size of one of them. I do think that's the way. So we'll go ahead and do that. Let's stack. Let's pass. Still potentially dead. Welder is fine. They don't have any artifacts to bring back. They don't attack. Interesting. Oh, do I want to clear the Welder here? I guess I could just clear one of the constructs. I do want to make use of this white mana. That crazy? Because if they just jam like a... Yeah, I think I need to keep the mana up. I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to go ahead and start with a Brainstorm here. See what they say about it. They do have a Blast and they're choosing not to use it. Oh, they are using it. Okay, I'm glad I got that out of their hand. The reason I'm glad I got that out of their hand is because they could have used that to stop Plow. Okay, so I'm going to put back one of the lands. I think we're cool on lands. I'll put back Brainstorm here. And I can hold up multiple plows. I like that. So I'm going to play land. This will just go get an island. We could go ahead and ponder now, but then we don't necessarily have force up. I like having force up because they only have one card in their hand. Yeah, I'm just going to chill. If they grind themselves, I might need to respond to what goes in the yard. That would make sense to grind themselves here. So let's see what they get, and then I might need to just clear that. They actually didn't get anything, which is nice. So I'm not going to plow now. I'll wait. That bolt is kind of scary because that can kill my Clarion. So this has to be killed. So what they could do is they could weld it out of play. There's no target, though. I'm just going to wait for it to resolve. Now they can attempt to grind if they want. I'll go ahead and plow one. I'm going to trade with the other. I would have loved to just kill that and then trade, but I've got lots in the... Yeah, I think it's safest to just trade. I could let it through. I'm going to trade while I can. I can just bring more of these back. I've got 2 more. This way they can't kill me. I'm going to go ahead and bet here just to get rid of... All right, let's get another island here. All right, and now we just start the delicate balance of not dying to welder, or not dying to grindstone. This is the time when they're supposed to do it, but they probably know that I would have something going on here. All right, so we just stick this, and then we plow, and I think we're fine. Now they're forced to grindstone. We'll go ahead and exile that. Okay, so they grind us. What do they get? They got the other Clarion Conqueror and a bunch of Murktides. We can still win. I think we just pass with force up. Next turn we can bring back the other dude. But like we're in a very strong position here. They can't tap their Mox Opal. So they only have access to 4 mana. We have force. Okay, that's fine. They're putting a lot of mana out. If hopefully this is like a Karn or something that I don't care about. Okay, they're just not going to tap it for mana. That's fine. All right. There's Merc. I think we just hold the Merc and we just ramp these out. Take our time. This card is so good against Painter. It's not even funny. It is not even funny. Man, I am going to definitely go back up to 3. I had 4 of these in my first build, but I was like, that's too much. Well, 2 is not enough. I definitely need a 3rd one. 3 mana is... It feels like it's hard to come by. I think I could just let this resolve because they can't actually activate Grindstone unless they clear my dude. Now Pyroblast, but I can just force a Pyroblast. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just hit him with everything in the air. That's a great draw. They're dead in like 2 turns, basically, because I'm bringing back yet another one. How crazy is it that I can just be so cavalier with the Painter Grindstone on the table? It's good stuff. It doesn't actually change the clock, I don't think. Merc would have changed the clock. But I mean, like, if they tap Ancient Tomb, I don't know. I don't think it actually changes anything. March is yet another powerful thing that we can cast if we need to. The fact that March's instant speed is just so nice. All right, opponents at 3. Got a grip full of interaction. They've got 1 card in hand. There is no way. They take themselves out with their Ancient Tombs. That felt very powerful. See you in round 3. All right, we're up against an unknown opponent who's already mulliganed. I mean, they could be on Oops All Spells. They aren't on Oops All Spells, and we're fine. This hand's great. Yeah, it's very hard to throw back a hand like this. Ancient Tomb. Broadside. That's explosive. They don't have anything to throw yet. Maybe I should go up to 4 Pyroblasts. I mean, like, there's so many red decks in the queues these days. I do want to be able to get an island if they Blood Moon. Yeah, and I might be able to pierce something. I'm going to play this out. I'm fine with taking another 2 damage from this if they don't have a powerful follow-up. But I'll be very embarrassed if I can't spell pierce a 1 ring. Okay, I'll take it. Wow. My shock. Okay, I'll stop being sarcastic. I know nobody wants to hear that. But like really, like... Yeah, like definitely rewarded for my patience. Just taking another broadside hit. All right, and we're close to back to basics in them. Just chill. If we don't have to plow... I mean, we could dragon, but that might be greedy. We'll see if they follow up with some other must counter card. Okay, so they got the 2 floating. Come on, go for another 1 ring. That is fine. No worries. Okay, so what they're going to do is they're going to attack us and potentially throw this for 5. I think I'm to the point where I just want to get this off the table and not risk taking any more damage. I can just main phase this. I don't know. Maybe that is leaving us unnecessarily vulnerable because we won't have Spell Pierce up. All right, we drew the land anyway. That's great. So the simple thing to do is just get a Merc on the table here. That does take Spell Pierce off the table. I think I'm just going to chill and take 2 from this. It's not as scary as Broadside itself. If they play a Broadside, though, it's going to be scary. Okay, so this is definitely a Chalice, which is definitely going to get pierced here. Spell Pierce is coming up huge. This card is freaking cracked. People do not have any patience in Legacy. They just want to get their games over with, and you can totally punish that lack of patience with the Spell Pierce. I guess that was their draw for the turn because they could have just played it out last turn instead of played out this stinky Simian Spirit Guide, which you basically never want to be hard casting. I would be embarrassed if I lost the game from here. And they played out the land afterward. That sucks for them. But they didn't want to take the damage. So I'm going to go ahead and just get an island. And then I'm going to go ahead and Timeless Dragon and get up Plains. Then we're going to lock down a lot of their mana here. And we'll take one more 2-hit from them. I think it's fine to do so. If it means like locking them off of any good top decks for the rest of the game. If I ever seem to have like condescension for my opponents, please don't interpret it that way. It's just that I've got a lot of experience playing. I'm a hardened old grizzly wizard over here who's like seen it all a million times. The whippersnappers with their One Ring decks. Force, yeah, I mean, I think we do just do this. Like they could just top deck a land, but like I don't want them to be able to use that mana again later. Okay, and they did top deck a land, so I wouldn't have been. Yeah, they would have just like left that untapped and maybe had mana for like a big volley later, like a Fury or something. All right, and now we just play out our Merc. Oh, Clarion. I think it's still Merc. I mean, we could just play this out for free. It doesn't cost us any spots. Yeah. And now we have Force up with Murktide, and we can follow up with Murktide. I think it's actually correct to play Murktide because it would have been a 6-6. It would have ended the game faster than this. It probably doesn't matter. Like, they should probably concede, frankly. Like, I don't think there's a lot of hope for them to win. They don't know that I have Force in my hand. I think I can just Clarion Conqueror and Merc here. Just to give them the full treatment. I'm getting a lot of server lag, which makes me worry a little bit about time, but I am going to go ahead and play with this Clarion Conqueror here anyway. Every click is kind of like swimming through mud. Yeah, they're like super duper dead next turn. They're going to take 13. Yeah, they are dead. All right, so similar to the previous game, I think we bring in Hydroblast. They don't seem to be on Painter Blood Moon. They're just like on straight up Blood Moon. I think Purge could be good here. I used to always bring in Force Negation against this deck, but now that I'm playing so many basic lands and like ways to find them, I don't know that it's necessarily warranted. I do think we could bring a couple in. Back to Basics is normally not good against their deck. I'm going to take it out. If I get somebody really bad with Back to Basics, like I almost always sideboard it out the subsequent round because they can definitely they can do some things to fetch around it. What I'm worried about is like dying early on in the game. Yeah, I think we cut all the pierces and then we just bring in the negations. That seems like a rational thing to do, considering that these can be hard cast later, and they do the same thing as the Spell Pierce, but they also help us in the early game. Dress Down, do we bring it in? We didn't see, but a lot of the decks are playing it. They are playing Urza Saga. March is pretty important. What I do in a lot of these matchups is I'll shave a couple Ponders. That may sound extreme, but consider that it's a blue card that we've got plenty of blue cards. I'm not going to... Well, Celestial Purge could be cut in favor... Yeah, maybe we just cut one Ponder. I don't know. This is like a special... Yeah. This can get rid of like Alorian... Or it is 2 mana, but... Yeah, okay. Because I expect them to have Chalice of the Void. And they're on the play, so there's not necessarily anything I can do about them chalicing me. They were on the play last game, and it wasn't a big deal. This seems like fine. We have Path to Plains, and we already have Island in hand. The double Mercs is not ideal. But, I mean, it's a Dragons deck. I'm not going to play 3 Murktide in a Dragons deck. Okay, that is what I'm talking about. They mulligan, and they start with a slow start. Technically, we could exile a One Ring with this, which would be pretty powerful. I'm here for it if that happens. I do want to be able to get a second island if we need it though, so I'm gonna go ahead and play this out because we have access to white, and white is less color. It's less necessary than blue is in this deck. Blood Moon me. Broadside. Right. Very similar to the previous game. Getting broadsided. We could purge this next turn. We can't purge unless we get white mana though. Yeah, I'm just going to do this, and then what I'll do is I will chill with this. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, so since we have such an abundance of basics, I'm not really too concerned about it. I'll probably purge pre-combat. All right, I am going to purge here. Fable is irksome, but it's okay. We could potentially get rid of the token. Oh, Clarion. I think we stick this. What does it do? Like, this doesn't have activated abilities. It shuts off their I mean, if they have Fury, they have Fury. It's kind of what I'm thinking here. Yeah, there's no rush to Timeless Dragoning. I'm just going to play this. If they have one ring, it gives them protection, but they can't tap it. This does a lot. The biggest thing I'm worried about now in their entire deck is Fury. They can't use Broadside even if they find another Broadside. They won't be able to use the Reflections ability. Whoa, Sting Scourger, that's cool. I love that card. Haven't seen that in a minute. Sting Scourger actually would have been relevant here. Broadside's fine. You are welcome to attack. And I'm going to be very sad if they have Fury here because not only does that clear this, but it does massive damage to me. Post-combat. No harm in blocking here, though. They may be realizing, oh, I can't throw stuff. I can't do anything. Yep, that's right. You can't. That is by design. Okay, so options. I think we just hold up the ability to exile this thing. We swing in. Because I definitely don't want to Merc until it's going to be a little bit bigger. We're winning this race. If nothing changes. Well, they'll get this dude. They have the freaking Fury. Oh no, what a disaster. Alright, so what we're going to have to do here, unfortunately, we're going to have to exile this. Oh, we could wait. Yeah, there's no point in waiting. They're definitely going to kill this. The good news is they're not going to be able to copy it because this is still summoning 6, so they just get to kill my Clarion. So it's a 2-for-1. They also don't have a good attack here. Had they waited a couple turns, they might have been able to cast it. Yeah, and now we've got a pretty sizable Merc coming next turn. What is this? Don't be One Ring. Oh, of course. All right, well, we need to get another Clarion. They may kill themselves before we kill them at this rate, but Merc is going to be pretty big. So Merc will be 5/5, which is out of reach for Fury. Force Negation is a rip. See if we can put another sorcery in there. Yeah. All right, and now Merc comes down very large, very much in charge. 1, 2, 3. I'll get rid of this creature just in case they do some weird shenanigans. I don't think there's any way it could blow. Oh, yeah, because it's a type. Should have technically gotten rid of the land there if I wanted to minimize Baragoyf. Not Baragoyf, whatever his name is, Pyrogoyf. Okay. See if they can do anything here. Another Broadside. Broadside number 3 would be pretty scary because I can't stop that. I can't stop this. They can copy it and they can attack me with it. That sucks. That sucks. So not only are we going to lose our Merc, we're going to lose 6 life here. Yeah. Yeah, this interaction is very strong. They 2-for-1 themselves, but they get new cards every turn. I am going to definitely bring out the Timeless Dragon and hope that it can close for us. I'll just continue to hold up Force Negation because I need to force the backup ring. A lot of times they have like a second ring that they play to get rid of the Time Bomb that is this ring. What is this? Chalice on 1. I'm not going to interact with that. I have Force Negation to pitch my 1-drops. I don't actually have that many 1-drops. So, I mean, we could drop a Merc, but I think it's better to just Eternalize here. So if we negate something, then we have Merc next turn. They may have the mana to do it twice. They could also do the Fury trick again, which would be devastating. Okay. 2 floating. They've gotten through 2 of their Furies. Broadside would also be catastrophic because Broadside would give them a venue to throw the ring. Actually, we're just dead to Broadside, I believe, because they can copy it. Pyroglyph is fine, but they can copy it. Oh, so sucky to lose like this. So sucky to lose this way. Because they see each other, so they can hit me for a ton. And then they can just attack and kill me. Yeah. I don't know how this game slipped away, but it definitely did. All right, that goes. So we take 2, and now they attack. Luckily, they can only do it once. Okay. So they're at 1 functionally. We're going to have a Merc. It won't be a big Merc. Oh, let's think about this. So 5, 6, 7. We don't have enough mana up to hold up Dress Down. I think it is correct to just go ahead and Brainstorm just to get Merc bigger. I don't think it's going to matter, but like they can just do what they did last turn. I think we've lost the game. I'm going to try, though. I wipe my graveyard. Pyroglyph is a 2/3, but like if they copy it, each copy does damage, so they can just hit me with both sides of it. They just have to see the line. So frustrating to lose like this, but we didn't. Yeah, we could have actually. Oh, actually, maybe if I had Dressed Down through their turn, we could have survived. Yeah, I think that was the line. Oh my goodness, I punted, but it was a total punt. It was my fault, and it's good to know that the game was winnable. I do think like we Dress Down there, and then they get through their turn. They can't kill me, and then they die to the ring the subsequent turn. We can force subsequent rings. Yeah, that was a sad punt. Would Wrath have been good there? I think it would have been okay. I don't think it would have been great. Think I'm going to run it back. I don't think we need this much force negation. I think I'll bring my Ponders back in. No, maybe Wrath. 1 Wrath. Because it can clear out like Moxen and stuff and Chalices. Wait, these 2. Yeah, let's Dare to Dream. And I'll go down to 2 force negation. I still want to have force. It still was a good card there. Like we didn't get to cast it, but it would have been good. This is not a keep. This is too speculative on them all. I don't know. I mean, this is Brainstorm. We have March for Chalice. We have Force for anything truly degenerate. So let's go Purge as a sideboard. I'm going to keep this. There is definitely risk here. Punishable 6. Just a quick update. I don't think we actually would have won that game had we done the Dress Down trick, because they would have just been able to end step. Maybe we could have Dressed Down when they copied, and that, but they still would have had like a lot of cards in graveyard. They mulled a 4. That's good for us. So assuming they're off Blood Moon, which I think is probably a safe assumption, I can Surveil here. I am going to Surveil. I'm going to trust that they are not crazy. They saw that I play extremely few basic lands, or I play a single non-basic land. There we go. Yeah, we're fine. I think we're going to win this one now. This is an opportunity for us to go ahead and Dragonstorm and line up our next land. What will we discard? I think I'll do this now. They Pyroblast is fine. I'll just discard the Timeless Dragon. Just like we wrote it up. This is great. All right, and we have Force up. Yeah, we just got lucky, frankly. Like, previous game, I think there wasn't really a clean opportunity for me to kill the Fable. Fable is such a good card. I've said this so many times. There's 1 ring, and I totally... No, Pyroglyph? I think that's fine. I'm going to let it resolve. I'm not going to force this. This is a 2-for-1, and then I'll just march it next turn. Or purge it, rather. Yeah, let's purge. And I will also ponder while the pondering is good. I could have held that for later. I didn't need to cast his sorcery speed. I think that was a greedy play. Clarion Conqueror seems pretty solid against the 1 ring deck. All these cards are great. So Borrower is probably good. I'll stick the island right now just in case they have some way of looking at my hand. I don't think they do. Next turn, we've got the dragon plus Brainstorm. Oh, we'll get this back too. Yeah, I think this is looking very strong. I just hope they don't have multiple haymakers that we have to force here. Doesn't look like they're casting anything, which is great. All right, so let's go ahead and play our land. Let's Conqueror. And now we're just in Protect the Conqueror mode. This card shuts off 1 ring. It shuts off like their activated ability shenanigans. It's really good. I would go so far to say this is like one of the best cards you can play against red decks in general, because it just screws so many different things that they're doing. I think even if our opponent hadn't mulled to into near oblivion, like 4. I understand that their deck does have to mull a lot, but even if they'd like kept a 6, I think we'd still be favored with the sequence of draws we've gotten. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I need to get a land. I'll just Dragonstorm here. Okay, there's the land. I mean, I don't need this many brainstorms. I'm about to Dragonstorm again. Feels right. And then we get both of these back next turn when we... oh, yeah, that's good. Merc seems better than Borrower. Borrower is more... let's put back Brainstorm. Then I can completely ignore Chalice. So we've got double Force up. We've got March. Fable is annoying. They can't use the clues. They get the dig through. We can always march it. I think just marching it is better than forcing it. And then we just in case of absolute break glass emergency, we still have our good stuff up. Maybe that was a mistake. Okay, that kills their city. So they're really low on mana now. All right, so we don't know what we're going to draw. I'll just fetch later. Okay, Timeless Dragon. I mean, I could just borrow this out of play. So I do want to get a land. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've got plenty of time. So I'm going to take my time and just focus on making correct plays and not punting. Okay, so land for turn. We could bring back this. I think I'm just going to go ahead and attack, and then I can bounce this out of play. I'll see what they do. There's no reason to make a move right now. I could just Merc and just beat them. I think that's fine. We'll have plenty of blue cards in our hand to force to pitch to force. All right, so that gives us some stuff back. We've got a 7/7. I'll just pass with Borrower and double Force up. Feels pretty good. This is about as one-sided of a game as you're going to see with this deck. This deck doesn't just completely dominate people usually. It's just tiny incremental advantages. Yeah, this is a mistake because they won't be able to use that clue or that treasure because of Clarion. And I'll see to it that Clarion never leaves the board. Ever, ever. Oh, now they're realizing, yep, that's right. Clarion is the king. Fury. That actually doesn't stop me, but I don't want to lose the Clarion. So I'm going to force here. I will pitch this Roiling Dragonstorm. Good games. All right. Yeah, we're 3-0. Deck feels great. I just wish I had a third Clarion, really. That's like one of the biggest deck building changes I'm going to make after we get there. Assuming we get there. But we're off to a great start. See you in round 4. Round 4, we're 3-0. We're up against an unknown opponent. This hand is great. It doesn't have a force in it, and they've already mulliganed, so I am a little worried that they're just like drive-by oops gaming. Oops being a deck that you can learn without really anything. Like, you don't have to learn anything. You just need to learn how to resolve a single spell. So it's perfect for, like, legacy tourists. Unfortunately. Okay. This is not a great matchup for us. And this hand actually doesn't really gel together like I wanted to. We need to find a force for one ring, and we need to get one of our back to basics stat. So I'm going to just ponder and shuffle anything that's not back to basics or force. I mean, this would normally be totally chill, but I don't think we have time. We could go for like quick Murktide kill. Let's think. The problem is, yeah, we've already got a brainstorm and we're going to need to use it next turn. Okay, there we go. Force. Disciplined. Ponder shuffle leads to gains. All right, and Mystic Forge is not allowed. Let's see. We could just exile it next turn. So we go white, and then we exile the Plow. That gets us up to a total of 3 mana, which is not enough. I'm not willing to leave this on the table for that long. I'm going to pitch the Borrower. I'm going to pitch the Borrower because I think Roiling Dragonstorm can help us discard some of the chaff in our hand. And Brainstorm can, do similar. So we just have to hope that that was like their major payload. And they don't have a lot of other, like the rest of their hand is ballast. Dress Down, I don't think is good in their deck. Yeah, I don't think that's good. I'd rather just have land with 3. But Plow is almost certainly dead. Yeah, we'll just pitch the Plow. Plow can't help us with the March of Otherworldly Light. I guess that was the redeeming quality of it. I'm just going to hope that we dig out of this. We've been on the draw, I think, most of these games. Most of these matches, and we still managed to get it. Oh, yeah! Rewarded for having Dress Down in our deck. So I don't usually... Do these decks always play Urza Saga? Okay, please don't be One Ring. K Command. That is totally fine. I am totally here for that. That is the least bad thing that could happen to us right now. And when you're fighting against decks like these that just resolve extremely powerful spells, least bad is often good enough. Now... If they are able to find the giant Ugin, we have no recourse. They kept one. This might be the giant Ugin. That would make sense why they were doing what they did. Okay. Interesting. Not really. I think they're just on straight Karnforge. For some reason, I thought they were on 12 posts, but they seem to just be on Karnforge. As evidenced by the Mystic Forge. Just a little slow on the uptake today. Slow on the uptake is what I meant to say. Okay. So we could just nuke this. It does slow them down, but we do have Dress Down. I'm going to go ahead and Ponder. Brainstorm would have been good too. I'm going to shuffle this. Oh, Roiling Dragonstorm number 2. Let's think about this. So Roiling Dragonstorm number 2 helps us discard a land. Then we'll have Brainstorm, Strand. Yeah, I think I do want to keep this Roiling Dragonstorm. It just represents the most potential if the game goes long. And if they invest in creating Urza Saga constructs, the game could go long. The other option is I just shuffle and hope that we high roll into Back to Basics or another Force, rather than just high rolling in, or low rolling into another land, which is the most likely outcome. I think I'm going to take the Roiling Dragonstorm just because it gives me selection. And again, if the game goes long, it's good. And then we'll just let them make their dude. So we'll pitch this one, because this one can go get a Surveillant. Basics will matter a little bit, because we're going to Back to Basics them, hopefully. But if they just resolve Ugin, then the game's over anyway. They probably have 2 Ugins in their deck. 3 mana. Don't you just want to make some constructs? Needle. Please name Wasteland. Strand. Oh, damn. Nice name. Okay, well, that was a good heads-up play. All right, and now they create the construct. Or this workshop, they just have ungodly amounts of mana over there. Just insane amounts of mana. There's no way we can hope to catch up other than ripping a Ponder right now. Or not a Ponder, a Back to Basics. I don't think Force does it, because they're starting to get up into uncounterable spell territory. That's a lot of mana. That's a lot of mana. Don't do it. Oh. Yeah. That's okay. Again, like, it's not good. Oh, no. This dude. Okay. All right. They are very close to locking us out of the game permanently. This is our chance. Gotta find that Back to Basics. Needle on Strand is so brutal, because now we can't clear a Brainstorm. And we might not have a third land. After we Brainstorm, even if we do find it, we may not have the land to deploy. Okay, Mystic Forge. Still scary. Back to Basics, please. Do this. So before we Brainstorm, we're never going to be able to get rid of that. Okay, this is terrible. Everything's terrible. We can cry. I'm going to put these back. I am going to Brainstorm again, just in case we find the other type of fetch. Still no fetch. Oh, Timeless Dragon works. All right, so what I'm going to do, I think we're super duper screwed, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play this out, and then at least we can Dress Down. I think there's a very high likelihood they just do the thing, the Mycosynth Lattice, and kill us that way. I can't think of a reason why they wouldn't. Yeah, I think we're dead. They are investing mana into these constructs, though. Candelabra, which generates basically infinite mana at this point. I just have to hope that they get greedy and don't go for the lock. I don't have to show them Dress Down. I don't have to show them anything if they're just going to Lattice me. Okay, they're going to go get Mycosynth Lattice. So we technically do have one play, which is to Brainstorm one last time. We get to look at one more card, and it could be a Force. Yeah, and if we had an additional white card, it still wouldn't be enough. We had to Brainstorm. Good game. And there was that Prismatic Vista that would have like cleared that, Yeah, that was that Pithing Needle was brutal. Absolutely brutal soul read over there. All right, so against this deck, Wrath plays a pretty big part in my mind. This March is pretty terrible because everything costs so much, but it can technically snipe an Urza Saga. I am going to bring in the Force of Negations. I think we just take out all our plows. Spell Pierce has a very short shelf life here, but I think it's still okay. Clarion Conqueror is actually really good. That was another out that we were drawing to. They could have shut down Karn. Spell Pierce does get really weak really quickly. Yeah, I'm not sure what to cut, to be completely candid. All these cards are relevant. Roiling Dragonstorm is just our core card draw engine. I don't like cutting that. We could cut one of them. Brazen Borrower answers a lot of stuff. Maybe we don't need 3 Wraths. But like, actually, I think I brought Wrath in specific. I put it in the board specifically for this matchup, so I should use it. We could drop a Merc, drop a Dragonstorm, drop a Pierce. Just the terrible sideboarding. Whenever you find yourself in a situation where you're just shaving one of random cards, you've screwed up in your deck building. But we're gonna clinic this specific matchup after the league. I think this is fine. I like Spell Pierce. It's not a great hand, but it does stuff. And I don't like mulliganing aggressively against this deck. Now we've shown the Prismatic Vista. We probably should have just used the Floodist Ray in there instead. Okay, I'm going to Pierce like pretty much anything. Yeah. You always stop the Monoliths because they can get the keys off of Urza Saga. Make your life miserable. Okay, so I think this is a Roiling Dragonstorm turn. We're going to hope to find a Force to pair with our Brainstorm. We can discard one of these Timeless Dragons. All right, perfect. This is exactly what we needed. Just what I needed. I think that's like something Peach says in one of the Mario games. I don't know why I said that. I'm not going to counter that. They can use this to ramp. I don't think you counter that. It'll get swept up when we, do we go for this? I don't think we counter mana at this point. Even though they seem to be like gated on lands, I don't think that's correct. We're going to counter what's, all right, now I'm kind of thinking we counter this. We either counter, yeah, because this is a bridge too far in my mind. Sorry. I really wanted to hold on to that Force and be disciplined. If they, yeah, that's fine. Don't name the right one this time. They probably named Prismatic or Thomas Dragon. Scalding Tarn. Okay, good. That's not in our deck. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Brainstorm here. Oh wait, we do have Scalding Tarn in our deck. I didn't realize we had one in our deck. Our opponent must have seen it. It's crazy that our opponent knows our deck better than we do. Better than I do. I'm not going to put this on you. Yeah, I'm going to just put this back. I'll hold the Vista for later, and I will just hold up both Timeless Dragon, Cycle, and Brazen Borrower. But I am going to want to Cycle because I don't want to draw those cards. So Brazen Borrower is like an emergency. Yeah, I'm not feeling good about this game. There's the key that unlocks the vault. Yeah. And this is why I said you always counter the monoliths, but I didn't feel like it was correct to force the monolith. Because they've got 3 more mana. 4 more, because technically they can use this to tap their Ancient Tomb again. It's crazy how much mana they're producing off of a single land. But again, this is my fault. They're at 10. The One Ring. I have to let them have it, sadly. I just have to let them have it. Because I do need to... Yeah, I'm going to Thomas Dragon here. Clear the cruft from the top of our deck. We'll bring back our Thomas Dragon next turn. We'll get a Roiling Dragonstorm back into our hand. Hopefully we draw a Force for turn. They do find a land. They've got a lot of cards coming next turn before we can touch them. I could have, bounced this out before they got to do it, but I don't think it's worth doing. All right, let's see what we draw. Hopefully it's not a land. Hopefully it's not Scalding Tarn. Okay, so I do think this is a... so we get this out and seriously threaten their life total. They can just exile it because it's based off mana value. They could easily exile this with a K command that they draw. If I find... Yeah, if I find Back to Basics is still worth playing. Merc puts this back in our hand. I think Merc is better because it's harder to exile. Not that they would have trouble exiling it at this point. So we'll take the Merc. Go grab an island here. So we'll be drawing wild. But hopefully we'll find a force. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be big enough to kill them if we ever connect. But I don't think we're likely to connect. Okay, please draw force. Oh, wait, we don't get to draw the card. We just it just returns to our hand. We have to actually cast it for that. Yep. So we're just sitting here. I'm not going to F6 because I don't want my opponent to know how vulnerable we are, but we're extremely vulnerable. They can actually use key to draw multiple cards off one ring. I mean, they're now dead on board, but I think it's extremely unlikely that our Merc doesn't somehow die to a K command. Yep. Just like that, they've got 8 cards in hand. They could just find another one ring. They've seen 17 cards. Okay, they get to draw again. So I don't think that Consigned to Memory is a particularly strong card. I think it sucks, frankly. And it's sad that we have to play it, but we probably do need to put 1 or 2 in the sideboard. Just for like decks like this. If you're willing to play reserve list cards, you could put a Null Rod in there. It's like $80, $100. It's very good against this type of deck. It's not a lock. It's not like 100% GG if you draw it, but it is good. Okay, interesting that they did that, like, just for 1 land. I guess that's all the mana they had, though. They just need a 1 ring and they win. Do they not have a 1 ring? Monolith? They can create mana. Okay, they're drawing cards again. Now they're going to need to draw a land. But, like, if they have land plus 1 ring, that wins, too. There's Ancient Tomb. 6 mana. Potential. Well, I guess now 4. Yeah, okay. They can draw some more, man. This deck is ridiculous. We're on the play this game. I don't know that we've punted or anything like that. It's just... And they struggled. They didn't even have early mana. The decision that was made was to not force that initial Grim Monolith and to instead to force the key once I saw they had the key. And I feel like it's easy to call me a fool for not just forcing that. But I didn't know that they would have the key. They have... They're going to 1 ring yet again. So now it's literally 1 ring or bust. Because they're going to die their own ring. I don't think they can win anymore. Because how are they going to produce mana? They use their land drop. They could Ancient Tomb into Monolith and then Monolith. Yeah, so they could go Ancient Tomb into Grim Monolith and then tap Grim Monolith. Get another, like a key and a Grim Monolith. And then win, maybe? They've seen nearly half their deck, though. Pedal, okay, that's part of it. I resigned myself to losing this game a long time ago. So in a way, I'm going to be kind of disappointed if I win because I don't feel like I deserve to win. But at the same time, it's kind of like Stockholm Syndrome. Like, is it really my fault that they are doing all this stuff to me? K command for 1. Okay. They get to surveil 1. But I feel like I was put in an impossible situation with that force. And I didn't know what was coming. Maybe it was correct to go ahead and always force the Monolith, as I say. We're going to get a game 3. I don't have high hopes of winning. But if we draw a Wrath of the Skies, can you imagine how good that would have been? One of the problems, though, is their deck is just so fast. Okay, so I'm going to trim Spell Pierces for sure. I think Spell Pierce on the draw is just... It did do something there, but... do we really want to be casting Spell Pierce? I think Merc... Number 3, 1 Merc is plenty. They're just going to kill themselves. Merc didn't even kill them. Merc forced them into a situation where they had to do something, and then they killed themselves. I guess we could bring in a couple spell pierces. It just feels so bad. By the way, Clarion Conqueror, I mentioned Null Rod earlier. Clarion Conqueror is like Null Rod on steroids. It's so much better against their deck than Null Rod. So if we get this out, it's GG probably. They could try to exile it. We had to have force for that. All right. Let's grab Spell Pierces. They're blue cards. They pitch the force. I don't think we need the other Merc. I don't think... We've got so many lights out cards in our deck. If we can find them. I think Wrath is probably one of those. I know Clarion Conqueror is that. there's back to basics with a force. If we can't win with this hand, I don't know what we do. But back to basics is going to be really strong here. And I'm going to keep this. Because they don't play any non-basics in their deck. So we just have to hope they don't have like an extreme explosive. Like everything really comes down to, okay, what am I forcing? If I force the wrong thing, I can still lose. They mulled to 6. Tomb. I will force monoliths, by the way. Yep. That needs to happen, sadly. I do not like burning my force so early. My sole layer of protection. But I am increasingly convinced that you have to go after the monoliths. It's just like a forced play. Okay, so I'm actually probably just going to get the Surveil land to increase the likelihood. Like, I know it's going to get tapped under back to basics. I don't care. I don't have the luxury of caring. I need to find forces. Dress Down's a great card. I really wish, like, sometimes these decks just slow down and go the Saga route, and I really wish that was what was happening here, but, oh, Fleshwrecker is a pain. We don't have any plows in our deck. Yeah, Pedal, immediately getting the party started. Yeah, we could get just stormed out with Fleshwrecker, depending on what their next few plays are. And even if we do manage to remove their lands, they're going to have this generating spawn tokens. They can basically burn you out once they get this, because they just K command for a bunch and they create the tokens, and then they use those tokens to K command you again, and they can surveil for the K command. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and get the surveil land here. I just can't whiff. I cannot afford a whiff here. That would be a whiff. So that's one in the graveyard. I would love to be able to deploy that, but it's probably going to be a very late game deployment of that. Wrath. Hear me out. Wrath functionally deprives them of 2 mana and keeps them farther away from Metalcraft. I think we Wrath here, and then we back to basics the subsequent turn. I know it sucks to do this to essentially counter a 1 Glaring Fleshwrecker activation, but I think it is correct. And I totally understand if you're like, why did you throw that Wrath away? We have our next few turns like lined up. We don't really have a choice here. They're down to 2 cards. Another Fleshwrecker. This is so nightmarish for us. If they have like another Petal, it's just GG basically. And you can see like me just taking pings. I'm 16. They've got like a pretty good... oh my gosh. Another freaking card. Yeah. If we draw another Wrath, that'll actually be pretty good. But I don't think that's likely to happen. Now, even if we do back to basics them, it's of questionable use because we're going to be taking 4 every turn just from the Fleshwreckers. And if they find a monolith, we're taking more. So we're effectively at 10. Gosh, this deck is just so ridiculous. It's so hard to beat unless you're like faster combo. I understand that its weakness is like fast combo. It really struggles with that, but as a control deck, this is just a nightmare. Borrower can bounce one of these back to hand. I don't have the luxury of doing anything other than just back to basicsing them here. It shuts them off. Really just 3 mana. Let's think about this. And then, okay, wait. Let's think. Yeah, because we could go get Borrower. Maybe back to basics isn't the way. Let's think about this. So we bounce one of those out of play. They have to recast it. I do want a Timeless Dragon and get like something going. We could also just... I mean, how crazy the back to basics isn't the play because we're just so behind the 8 ball here. Next turn, we could bring back Timeless Dragon and start beating them down. They're very low in life. But we have to get lucky and rip a land. What we could do... We can wait till their upkeep when we dress down. Okay, so hear me out. We'll wait till their upkeep. We dress down so they don't have the ability to do anything. I could actually stop in my instep and do it. And then if I draw a land, then I can bring back the Timeless Dragon, and then we have something to beat them down with. But we're going to take 4, we're going to drop to 6, and then it's very easy for them to burn us out there from there. I still think that's correct, though. Leave a comment with a timestamp with what you would do here. This does feel extremely weak. I mean, bouncing one of these out of play would be a similar play, but the problem is it doesn't advance us any closer to having our next land drop. And Dress Down at least draws us a card. So there's a chance that we'll find a land drop. Or we're not going to find a plow. But we could find, what's it called? March. And if we found a March, you I wouldn't actually have the mana to get rid of one of these. I get rid of a key, I guess. Force. Okay, that's probably not going to be good enough, but we're probably going to be pitching Force to back to basics, back to basics before, sadly. So they're coming in for an attack. Dropping to 6. Yeah. Do we get a land? We have a decent chance of finding a land here. It's not enough, but it's better than nothing. All right, the suspense. Land. That is a profoundly good thing for us. We're still probably dead. We're at 3. They just need a single artifact plus attack, and I think we're dead. But we do have Force Pitch, and we could do this multiple times in a row. Not exactly in a row. We just need them to whiff on artifacts. Like if they have like some big thing. So I think it's when you cast, they get a spawn, and so that pings us 4 times. So we'll be at 1. We can only block 1, so we're dead if they have anything to cast that's colorless, sadly. Like despite all of our efforts, we're still dead to these double flesh rakers. I could have bounced one out of play. They would have just recast it. Okay, do a big one. I'm going to force the heck out of it. So this is 4 pings. Oh, so brutal. So actually, if I force this, I'm dead either way. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to force it. It doesn't matter. We're dead either way. Because they get 4 pings. It's so messed up once they get 2 of these. Yeah, there's the other ones. Yeah, this deck, it's rough for control decks. I'll leave it at that. So that was an unfortunate ending. I think we did everything we could. Leave comments with timestamps if you have feedback on my play. Of course, I want to improve and be able to win these matchups. I'm just not sure whether that was winnable. See you in the final round. Final round, we're up against a likely Goblins player, which is exciting. This hand is not strong against Goblins, but it's not bad. I'm going to keep it. Like, this hand is extremely general in its usage. So they've got the lackeys, they've got the hierarchs. Hierarch, so this is not Vile Goblins. This is Food Chain Goblins. Interesting. So the only non-creature spell in the entire deck is the Food Chain. They've got 4 Furies in there. Okay, lackey. Hate to say it, but you got to force this thing. I'll pitch the Spell Pierce since we think it's unlikely to be useful. I'm getting some serious server lag, unfortunately. All right, we're back. It looks like I'm going to time out just due to... like I restarted, but I'm still getting the network lag. So I may not be able to end this, unfortunately. 16 minutes on the clock to my opponent's 24. All right. My opponent has reconnected as well, and we are going to just start by playing the Strand. That way we can get a Surveil. Back to Basics is not going to be good here anyway, so I'm not going to be casting it. My opponent has tons of mountains. Actually, they only have 2 mountains, but I don't think it's going to be particularly impactful. So I will Surveil. Looking for really plows, any sort of creature removal. That is going in the yard. I'm going to go ahead and just Roiling Dragonstorm here and discard one of these. Well, I'll discard the Thomas Dragon. Gosh, Back to Basics is so bad. I still think we want to bin a Timeless Dragon, though, just so we can get it up and going faster. We're still 2 turns away from getting it up. Still getting ridiculous server lag. This is a bad matchup as well. We'll have to contain them, and then we'll have to beat them down. I'm not going to delude myself into thinking that we have any... Yeah, that's really bad for us. So I think they may just be able to win here. Okay, they're passing. That's good. So this is exile a creature you control. So this is not symmetrical. Force is too late, but we might be able to break up the chain. I'm just going to... I mean, I could put a Merc out. It's not totally embarrassing. Yeah, I'm going to do that. At least that's doing something. And I'll leave the Thomas Dragon in the bin. We get that back. Next turn, we can choose... We might want a Roiling Dragonstorm again. The important thing is, like, you can stop the chain. They invest a whole bunch of mana in something, and these are not like cast Eldrazi style cast triggers. These are ETBs. Might be able to hit something important. Oh, not anymore. That changes everything, unfortunately. We'll have to get lucky and hit something in the chain that we can hit. Ringleader can't be countered. Oh, we may be able to get a Muxus. They have Muxus. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to be forcing Muxus. All right. They're down to 2 cards. the cards that they revealed? Just Goblin Lackey and Muxus. So they got a bunch of Ancient Tombs in their hand. We may have just dodged a serious bullet there. Oh, these are terrible. I'm going to go ahead and... yeah, I'll just do it like this. Dragonstorm. Then if we find another Merc, we won't be able to use it. Oh, it's so bad. So bad. I guess we bin the dragon just because we can play it out. I mean, we're not going to... I mean, we could just play it out from hand. Yeah, I think I just need to go beat down. I can just surveil. I think that's fine. Next turn we will have Hardcast Force up, which shouldn't matter. I think if they have one spell a turn, we're screwed. Wait, these Ancient Tombs aren't in their hand. They still have stuff in hand. Because the Ringleader doesn't put them in hand. It's not like you draw 4 cards. So they probably still have a creature that they can use. And if this is another Sling Gang, because they can sack these and deal damage to us and get mana. This is 1+ his mana value, so this is pretty powerful. I think they are going to likely be able to tempo us out here. I'm going to hold this fetch just in case we get lucky and draw a Brainsworm. I'm going to hold that for force. Not that I think there's any chance of force resolving. I didn't need to actually fetch there, and I think it was probably a mistake. Well, we could just actually play out the front half of Timeless Dragon. I think that's fine. It's bigger. We get our Roiling Dragonstorm back. I am going to keep trying to race him. It may be an error, but we do have a 5/5 back here. Doesn't make any difference. See, we attack for 4. Then we attack for 9. Well, we may be able to attack for more if we can find another Merc. Yes, I'll do it this way. I don't think that they can kill us from where they are without casting something big. They can gain life, though. Okay, land. Any sort of land source they play out is a gift at this point. A second food chain is fine. They might as well attack with everything. They should attack with these at least, and then they can sack one after it blocks. I think we've gotten supremely lucky here. All things considered. Network consideration aside. Come on, Network. I actually have a decent chance. Like, I don't think I can win in 3 games. I don't think I'll have time for that, but I could turbo them and win in 2 games if the network allows it. And this is after doing like a full system restart, reconnecting, everything. It is definitely like something between my client and MTGO. Okay, that's not a good card. So let's go ahead and I want to start with Roiling Dragonstorm. Yeah, I'll do it like this. Roiling Dragonstorm. We're going to want to discard something that helps us get to bigger Merc, but I don't think bigger Merc is going to do it. There is bigger Merc. We discard this Ponder. Well, we could potentially Ponder, and this fetches. This gives us bigger Merc. Let's see, we attack. It's not necessarily enough, though. Okay, I'm just going to be quick and decisive here. I think Roiling Dragonstorm is nice, but would we have the ability to do it a second time before we cast the Merc? We would, technically. So I guess discard this. Now I'll go ahead and just go get an island. And then we can Dragonstorm again. Then we can Merc. Still would love to draw like a Back to Basics goes. Blue, Merc. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just in case they have Pyrogoyf in their deck, I'll get rid of the enchantment. Okay, this grows a little bit. It doesn't matter. For some reason, my hotkeys stopped working. It's so weird and annoying. My keyboard is definitely working, though, right? Why are my hotkeys failing all of a sudden? Okay. Right, so this is an attack for 11. I think we just attack for 6 here, and then we kill him next turn. This way we can hold back a little more protection. We have lots of stuff to protect us here. We have another Timeless Dragon if we need to add to the board if they somehow remove one of these. Okay, wow. Thanks for conceding and saving me some time and clicks. Okay, so this is a Wrath of the Skies matchup if I've ever seen one. Celestial Purge does technically kill stuff. I want to get out all the Spell Pierces. I probably want to get the Forces out too. I just don't think they're where we want to be. But they did save us from Lackey, but Back to Basics comes out. Clarion Conqueror is not terrible. Dress Down is, potentially good. It's stuffing abilities. Hydroblast come in. I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to bring in this Purge. I think Borrower's probably pretty bad. Because almost everything they have has a nice ETB trigger. I think Purge is going to be better. Let's do it. All right. Game 2. Less than 9 minutes on the clock. Terrifying. This is the hand. Yeah, I haven't seen any Wastelands. I'm going to keep this. We have Hydroblast if they're lackey. We have Archive into potential Wrath. Okay, so we are going to have to start with Island, and we're going to have a lame duck turn. Gosh, Spinner. Okay. I guess I should just F6 through their turn. Like, I hate to do that because I might have to interact, and sometimes bad things happen when you're F6'd, but I think I'm going to start doing that. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and then I'll F6. Oh my goodness. I've already lost like 30 seconds this game. F6. F6 through their turn. They know that they've got a free roll because I have to do this because of the clock issues. It may make sense to just go ahead and get Thomas Dragon in the yard with a Brainstorm or with a, I could Brainstorm and then shuffle away the Archive, which I definitely don't want. That gets more cards in the yard for early Merc. Okay, they're down to 4 cards in hand. Yeah, I definitely don't want this. I think I'm going to start with the Brainstorm. Okay, more Wraths. So I don't want this. I don't really want this. Yeah, I'll put that back. Now I can play this out, and I'll just... I kind of want to just fetch now. Gosh. I mean, I want to get the white up, and I'm going to F6. F6 through the turn. Nothing bad ever happened when you were F6'd against combo, like creature combo. So this is a really bad rip, unfortunately. You know what I should have done? I should have just fetched the damn Surveil land. And then I would have white, and then I would have been able to play... No, wait, I fetched the plains. So I wouldn't have had a path to double white. Ringleader. It's worth noting that like Wrath is okay against them, but like their curve is so high that it's quite possible that I'm not really going to hit that much when I do Wrath. It's not a catch-all. I think we just need to probably Merc here just to get a blocker out, sadly. And sometimes you get in situations where Merc can race. We have Thomas Dragon for land next turn, but I'm not going to just sit still for a turn cycle, doing nothing. They likely have Pyroblast in their deck, so they can probably just clear this and move on with their day. If we naturally draw all planes, and if they play out some other creatures that can get hit by this, but like their curve is pretty high, I'd be surprised if they had more like they had one of those things that generates tokens, that the Wrath might be profitable. Game 3, we're going to be on the play. We probably won't have to just completely burn a blast on a lackey or force a lackey or anything. We'll be able to be a little more selective, I think. It'll be easier for us to get up to Wrath. Wrath is really pretty hard to cast on the draw. Yeah, they are going to win here. We can just see how we'll see how their combo works, but they are going to win here. So they can just sacrifice these. They can Muxus. Nothing I was going to do was going to fix any of this. Oh, I think they have the whatever it's called, the window licker dude, so that they can go infinite with Harbinger, whatever his name, Bogart, Harbinger. Okay, Muxus. We'll see what they flip. We are getting more information about their deck at no cost, really. Conspicuous Snoop, that's the card. So they can go infinite with Conspicuous Snoop. They've got Sting Scourger here, which is going to bounce our... Yeah, so the game's over. I'm just going to concede because I don't want to incidentally take any clock damage. Because sometimes, like, even though you're F6, it'll, like, figure out ways to, like, ping your clock. It's really annoying. All right, Brazen Borrower might be better than this March. March is so bad. I think it probably is. I mean, no, March can, like, potentially pitch a bunch of stuff that's stuck in our hand. I'm going to play it like this. Yeah. All right, we have 6 minutes. That might be enough to close. I'm going to do my best. I don't think this is a favorable matchup, but it's not a terrible matchup. It's probably like a 40-60 matchup. Generally, as I've said ad nauseum on the channel, when a fair blue deck faces a fair non-blue deck, the fair non-blue deck is favored because they are giving up a certain percentage points against combo in exchange for just being able to be a really strong fair deck. Whereas our deck, yeah, this is a keep, is yeah, the snapcat, the swords. It's really strong here. So yeah, we've got a lot of options. I'm just gonna play this out just to deal with turn 1 lackey, and so that we don't have to force it. But I will probably be forcing stuff later, assuming that they don't have Cavern. Cavern would be devastating. Roiling Dragonstorm, great card here if we get a chance to use it. But to finish what I was saying, like the fair blue deck is trying to beat Storm as well. I'm just gonna plow this. Gosh, my clock! Come on, clock! Oh my goodness. Sorry if it's like I can't watch anymore. It's too cringy. Like this dude sitting in his room, like, you know, getting tilted at like something completely out of his control. Yeah, I apologize. I just don't want to lose because of clock. It's humiliating to lose because of clock, even when it's kind of partially out of your control. It's humiliating to me when I lose to clock. You don't need to be humiliated if you're like new to the game and stuff and like just learning and stuff. I think this is very much like a been a force sit. And then next situation. I don't know why I said sit for situation. Nobody's going to understand what that abbreviation means. Okay. Another lackey. When we have it covered, technically we just play this Clarion Conqueror and ignore it. We force the big fries. I think that's fine. They could have some sort of uncounterable thing that somehow stops us from forcing. This is probably just like a, yeah, hierarch. Okay. And I don't like taking a passive posture here, but I think it is correct. I can't have 6 because we have to protect this with our life. Because this connects, the game is over. We are buying time and building up our mana base. We've shut off hierarch. We don't shut off the activated ability of Food Chain if they have that. Just in case they have multiple, I'll probably force pitching Brainstorm. So I will force this by Brainstorm. Roiling Dragonstorm is going to be good. We'll get that down, and then we'll just get a Merc, and we'll win with Merc. Taking some clock damage. Okay. More clock damage. Into the red. Oh, no. I'm going to go like this. See what I find. Okay, that Wrath is pretty damn good here. So I'm going to pitch this island. I'll play this out, and then what I can do is I can Timeless Drag. I don't have Force Up anymore. That sucks, but it's unavoidable. I'm going to go ahead and just do this now. Yeah, if they clear this, it's absolute devastating if they have a way to remove this. I'm going to go ahead and do it now, though, because I don't want to take more clock damage. If I navigate to a successful state, I want to be able to capitalize on that. And now they are going to know I'm F6'd, but it needs to happen. Cavern. And I absolutely could have forced that. Okay, Badlands is the top card. They can't use this ability. They can't use activated abilities. Okay, and it's only activated abilities. So, we Wrath for 2. I'm just going to play this out, and I'm going to bring this back. That way I get my Force back up, and I'll Wrath later. I'm going to start swinging. So we have Plow up, if necessary. Wait, what does this text say? I'm going to plow this. I don't want to risk it. Because they could get free cards off that. Yeah. I do want them to commit more to the board before I Wrath. But I don't want to lose my Clarion Conqueror, so I just want them to commit like small things to the board. There's another Snoop. I'm not going to force that. They have a Bloodstained Mire on top. I'll Wrath that away. I do want to get a crack in with this Thomas Dragon before I do. Okay. Let's go to combat. Attack with both. They take 7. Blow up the world. So we're doing it for 2, so we don't lose the Conqueror. Then I'll Ponder. We're pretty far ahead now. Another Hydro. I mean, these are good cards for sure. Yeah, I'll just keep them all. All right. I can't have 6. I've got 2 minutes on the clock. I just need to stop whatever would stop them from winning over the next 3 or 4 turns. Hydroblast for one of the answers one of them. We have Wrath if they just play. Okay, they're fetching. They have Muxus. It's so tilting because they have Caverns. There's nothing I can do about it. This is it. This is freaking it. Don't do it. No. All right, this is game. Oh, we had it. We absolutely had it, I think. But I don't think it was like nothing we did mattered, frankly. I think we did everything we needed to do. Kiki Jiki can is the top card. So this doesn't have activated abilities. It can't do anything. Is there any world in which we can somehow survive this? We hit... They have a Muxus on top? What a freaking insult. I can't stop it. That's so tilting. My goodness. So they're going to be able to do all this again. Wrath hits everything. Okay. They're just going to Muxus again? This sucks. Destroy target permanent if it's red. I'll kill that. Sure. I'm going to Wrath. It doesn't do anything because the game fundamentally doesn't, matter because there's a freaking Cavern of Souls out, which I could have stopped. I will attack. I don't think it matters. Again, they're going to Muxus and they're going to have this huge board. I can probably safely F6 since the Muxus is coming down. This does massive damage, by the way. I guess I could have waited till they attacked. Then they would have been doing this after combat. They do have a 2-hit. They've got a Lackey, which... how do they get 5 cards in their hand? The world may never know because we don't have time to figure that out. Sling Gang Lieutenant, that's a powerful card. I think that actually kills me. My clock is killing me first, though. Insult to injury. This league has just been a disaster after... The first 3 rounds were great. I don't want to sound like a petulant child, whatever the term is. Okay, here's another Wrath. We Wrath for 3, we lose everything. Yeah, it doesn't really accomplish anything. We can Roiling Dragonstorm. I'll just pitch these 2. What could I find here? Like, would a Merc save me? I don't think so. I wouldn't be able to deploy it. I don't think anything saves me. A second Clarion would be okay. Yeah, Wrath just doesn't do it. Like, I lose too much. Oh, my freaking clock. Yeah, sorry, my excellent friends. This is a humiliating way to lose. I guess I could just... they're gonna do lethal damage on the... because Muxus is a lethal permanent. Yeah, I'm just bleeding out on the clock. Okay, so let's Dragonstorm with 17 seconds. Good game. Good game. There's nothing we can do. Sorry. I'm sorry I didn't edit that way. These network issues have been driving me crazy. Yeah. So we did 3-2. And I think that match was totally winnable. Had I had more time. I was making a lot of moves at the end there that were just trying to preserve clock. Okay, so post-deck clinic, I think we should go up to 3 Clarions. These were insane, the entire league. I think we should go down to 3 Timeless Dragons. That's still 22 mana sources, which is plenty, in my opinion, considering we're playing so many basics. March stays. It's expensive, but it does help out in some situations, and I do think we need another piece of spot removal. Celestial Purge seemed very underwhelming. I don't like it. I don't like Wrath number 2. I think what we do here in this situation is probably bring in, as much as I hate to do it, I think Consign probably. Again, like I'm a huge detractor of Consign to memory. I think once Eldrazi was removed from the meta, the Consign was effectively removed too, but I have seen it creeping back into other people's sideboards just to deal with. It would have been good. It wouldn't have been good enough to board in against Goblins there, but it would have stopped the Muxus trigger. One of the main challenges you're going to face as a control gamer is just stretching yourself pretty thin in terms of being able to address a lot of different types of decks, which we did get to face a lot of not top decks. We've got to face kind of a broader array of decks, which was fun. It was cool playing. Like, if I seem salty or anything, I have profound respect for like my opponent playing Food Chain Goblins in 2025. I think that's super chill. And I don't think, like, I used to complain a whole lot about Cavern of Souls, but it's a card they printed, and control players have to adapt. We're not well disposed to beating it just because, unfortunately, you play your back to basics and they just hold it and they use it when they really need to get a creature out. And a lot of the decks that are playing it are like mono blue Merfolk, for example, which I played Cavern in my Merfolk deck the other day, right? I do think that if you really want to be able to shred combo, you do need these Spell Pierces. They feel really bad. Like in the final round there, they were basically completely dead, and they're going to be completely dead against a lot of opponents. But I think you'll just lose so many games to like Doomsday and Storm and like One Ring type decks and stuff like that if you don't have these. I mean, like Consign, it feels like a much worse version of Spell Pierce Because almost always what you're trying to do is just stop like a... You're not... In your mind, you're like, oh, I'm going to consign their Yorion trigger and they're not going to get their creatures back, right? It's the absolute ceiling of this card. But the floor is it just rots in your hand and they don't cast any colorless spells and they don't have anything, or like maybe you just stop some random like trigger just because you want to get some value out of it because it's been rotting in your hand for 4 turns. I don't like this card, but I feel like our Karnforge matchup. Oh, the other thing is Wrathless Guys. I do think it's a 2 of. I don't think we can afford to play 3 of. It felt really bad drawing them in multiples. Yeah, I just don't think it's a 3 of in any situation. I think Jeskai Control, you'd probably just want to play 2 as well. Even with all the like, it would have been insane had we actually drawn it and used it, but it would have been bad if we during the Karnforge matchup. But it would have been bad if we'd drawn multiples. So I think that's where I'll leave it for now. I like this list a lot. I don't like the absence of Thoughtseize, but I do think Clarion Conqueror, like, you'd be hard pressed. I tried really hard to come up with like a Dragons list that would work in blue-black, and I just couldn't. I don't think that 4 Merc enough alone is enough to make this good. I've seen some blue-black Reanimator decks trying Roiling Dragonstorm just because it does, kind of have a little engine with, like, they'll play like 3 Murktides and then they'll play 3 Roiling Dragonstorms, and it's a discard outlet, so you can discard your, fatty, and then you can reanimate it. But I don't think it's likely to get traction there. I think this is very much just for this deck. It's a good fit. And I think it's great in a budget context because normally you'd have to splash for Up the Beanstalk, but green's not really useful beyond Up the Beanstalk right now in a control deck archetype. Like, you have to stretch really far into green to make Uro or Endurance viable. Of course, you have Loam and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think that this feels pretty solid, actually. And I would encourage people to continue to iterate on it. I think the Timeless Dragon, it works really well with it, but I can see a lot of people saying this card is so damn slow. If we were to take a more Jeskai build, let me try to create a Jeskai build real quick. Just give me a sec. Okay, so here's my Jeskai version. This is a very quick pass, but basically what I think you do if you want to go Jeskai is this gives you Prismatic Ending, which is way better overall than March. March was just there because we didn't have a third color. But now we have a mountain, which does nothing but cast Prismatic Ending. And we have a couple Pyroblasts in the side, which are good. Way better than that other card, Consign to Memory. Not relevant for the matchup we were talking about, but still good. And you might be thinking, oh, you could add Meltdown too. But I think Wrath of the Skies is better than Meltdown. And we don't... If we just take out the dragons, which I think are just okay, the Timeless Dragons, and then we still have the 3 Clarions and the 4 Murktide, and the Brazen Borrower to end. But I would argue if you're doing this, if you have Prismatic Ending, you don't necessarily need Brazen Borrower, so we could cut these. Because now we're going like you could argue like Murktide and Brazen Borrower are kind of tempo-y in that regard, and then you could probably add a couple of Eternal Dragons back in, or Timeless Dragons. Okay, and since we're adding Timeless Dragon, I'm going to actually do a kind of odd thing, and I'm going to include Elegant Parlor instead of Thundering Falls, just because we can go get it with Timeless Dragon if we absolutely need to. If you look at the deck, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 20 lands. So we've still got 15 initial blue sources that can come in. I mean, aside from this, so really 14 if you don't count this. They can be our turn 1 Ponder or our turn 1 Brainstorm if we absolutely need it, or our turn 1 Spell Pierce. So I do think that it's probably fine. And it's not like Elegant Parlor would have worked anyway. It may be that 2 Surveillance is too many, but we're not playing Mystic Sanctuary, so I think it's probably fine to have a control deck with 2 ETB tapped lands. We do have ways of getting these. We have the 4+2 fetches. And, you could argue we could go down a plains here because we're never going to need more than 2 plains. And if we do that, we could just add an extra island. So that would be 7, 8, 9 fetchables. Yeah, I think if we add one of these, then we've got 10 fetches and 10 fetchables, and that works out perfectly. Yeah, so I haven't experimented with 3-color budget decks that don't have reserve list cards. I do think that this is going to suffer. Most Jeskai, this is basically exactly the Jeskai mana base that most people would play, except they would just play one Surveil. They'd probably play a Valk and a Plateau, or just maybe a Valk and no Plateau. And then they'd probably also be able to play Mystic Sanctuary. So this is getting into the budget constraint territory where the deck is like way worse because we're in the budget realm, whereas before it wasn't that big of a deal. It does come up sometimes, but it wasn't a huge deal. But now there are going to be hands where we draw a mountain and we're just like, oh, this doesn't do a damn thing in our deck. What the heck? So just be ready for that if you play this. But I think the Pyroblast, man, I'd like to go up to 3 of these if we're doing this. And then we could go down to 3 Force Negate. Yeah, I think that's better. I think it's better. Because there will be situations where you're up against Oops All spells. I think 7 Forces plus 4 Cages is enough to reliably get the Grafdigger's Cage under you. So I'll probably try this in the next league just to get a feel for whether this can work. But I definitely don't feel bad going down on Dragons. I think there's rapidly diminishing returns to having a lot of these in your deck. But I had a lot of fun with this league. I hope you did too. I hope you learned some things about playing Control. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.